Hi, welcome on my channel. Thank you for joining me. So, not only welcome on my channel, but also welcome in my new home, which I like to call Anna's Ark, because I'm actually living on, I don't know what you call that, an ark. And not one that I can really leave with, but it is on the water here where I live. So it's a bit like a small apartment with the luxury of having still a garden and an outlook on the river, the water here. So that's why I'm playfully sometimes saying on Anna's Ark. So join me on that. So I'm sitting in my living room. It's cold and rainy outside, so I wanted to also add the fire element for this talk today. I intended at first to stay away for a bit from making content, but I got sort of a change of plan in my healing and steps that I was taking towards that. And I do like creating content, but I haven't been always that stable in my communications online. So I wanted to be more stable first before I started creating content, and I also wanted to use my skills in creativity and being a digital marketer and a woman in consultancy business, and using my creativity more on this channel for that. But yeah, not there yet. But so I'm learning as I go, and will amp up the quality of my channel eventually if I feel this is what I want to keep doing. So yeah, my first video on my new channel, the 2.0 version of it, I started with the archetype that I was guided in at the moment. So I was doubting if I restarted this, the content creation and uploads I would be doing, and the topics I have in mind and experienced and studied about, and those kind of things. At first I thought, let's start with the archetypes of the zodiac again, because the previous video I created about that actually did well, and I really can passionately talk about that. And it also relates a lot about making the links to purpose. So my personal purpose, but sharing my wisdom and experiences, and in that, how you can get closer to your divine blueprint, your purpose. So you're hearing it already if you know the list. I am not going to go further into archetypes at this point. I think that will be my next video. But I want to talk about purpose and what are you here to heal, because a lot of our purpose here on earth is to heal and help the collective heal and Mother Earth heal. That's why we're here and not somewhere in another dimension to do that. So the archetypes of the zodiac, maybe this will come a bit to the forefront already in this talk, but I wanted to zoom in on that topic first. So let's get into the tea of some of my personal stuff. Grab yourself a cup or whatever, I think I'm gonna go with the flow in this video. I need to be a bit hydrated for that. Okay. So because this relates at the moment to what are you here to heal, because there are divine timings for everything in that, and I knew already that what the first time I did the talk on the archetypes of the zodiac, I was still a redhead, so I dyed my hair red for I like this being subliminal in how I look sometimes. And in that timeline, I was still a lot in my root chakra. And now I'm moving further along to stabilize my sacral chakra. So hence why in Anna's arc, I decided also to switch up my hair. And it's not yet what I want it to be. So I went to the hairdresser and I actually wanted to, so I gave that hint a whole while ago, that video is already gone, that I knew I had to really resolve some deep trauma that is still lodged in my sacral chakra. So I wanted to be, this is way too blonde for my liking. And also sometimes when you dye your hair a certain color, you have to bleach it first. My hair no like. So it's I tried already, to take more care of it. But it's dry as AF. It's way too blonde. And a bit of the color that I wanted did come out here, so I wanted it to be a copper color, so a brunette and a balayage to orange coppery, but I also know that I want to get in my healing also above the sacral chakra, because a lot of us stay in our lower chakras with unresolved issues, and that can be from this lifetime or from other lifetimes timelines. But so in a while I will look different again. So yeah, I like to play with how I look to the world, but also for myself, of course. So sacral chakra healing is what I'm focusing on, and yeah. If you scroll a bit back on some things that I have been sharing already, and what I shared today is that if I like it or not, ready or not, it's here to look at and dive into for me. So what are you here to heal? You have your divine mission here, and mine is a lot focused on generational healing, but also I am a person that also remembers past lives and certain traumas that are in my soul. So not just Natasha is my given name, but my soul name is Anna. These things have been happening for me, for way longer than the 34 years young I am at the moment. And not all of us have that mission, possibility. Not all of, maybe some of us can't get to that stage in their healing. So I think it's best that I keep it a bit in the here and now, this timeline, and then try to expand a bit in how you can see if this is also for you from other timelines, lifetimes. That's the same thing, because it's all multi-dimensional happening at the same time. You have other yous, some of us, not all. So in finding your purpose, most of that is healing. And looking at traumas, you have generational trauma, so things you inherit from your ancestors or your blood family of origin, your bloodline. Things get passed on to you. And you have, of course, all kinds of trauma: sexual, physical, emotional, spiritual. And I wanted to give some tools to you how you can find that for yourself. What am I here to heal, and what is your purpose in that? So one main theme that has been happening lately, and I've been sharing on my page, is Chiron, the planet Chiron, and the archetype of that, and Ophiuchus, a bit the same, in wound healing. So he's that archetype is the wounded healer. And why does purpose relate to what are you here to heal? Because in life you are what you overcome, and most of the times that's your wounds, your traumas. And if you do that, you can, a lot of the times your purpose is to help others with that and through that. So your biggest wounds and your traumas are your best teachers, and if you can learn how to overcome that and integrate that and give that a healing space, you can help others with that. So so I had my spiritual awakening mainly because I felt a calling in my soul. So I ended an 11-year relationship due to certain reasons, because I felt kind of called to heal before starting a family. So in my previous video I talked about, and that was the man that came after my 11-year relationship, I started remembering things, and I was getting signs and synchronicities in dreams and stuff. That's going to be a whole series. What are signs, synchronicities? How does your higher self, God, the universe, contact you, talk to you, communicate with you? But that's very scary in the beginning. And it's also a thin line between getting messages and seeing things, outer-worldly things too, and going crazy. And they call that psychosis, in the spiritual psychosis. So losing touch with reality. But reality here, and a lot of people that aren't awakening to that are awakened. Yeah, you start to see things that others don't see, but you can also, if you're not grounded, can that's a part of what schizophrenia is, seeing otherworldly things, but not being able to, because you're too open to it. So yeah, that's no fun. That's no state you want to get stuck in. So a lot of these illnesses here on earth have a spiritual component to it. So it started for me with kind of that. I ended a relationship, I fell in love with someone, and I got sucked in back then into the whole twin flame community, because I couldn't make sense of what was happening around me, to me, with other people, dreams, things I was seeing. And it took a long time to make sense of that. So what I said is, So I remembered this person killing me in another lifetime. And that energy signature, that karmic thing manifested itself again. So it was, we had to meet, I guess. But the whole how it went and what, I don't know if that was wholly the divine plan. I think because I fell into addiction to numb myself out during that time and stop the dreams from happening, and so I opened myself up to a lot more turmoil and negativity than maybe was destined to be. Maybe, I'm not sure, you never know. But I found out, and that was actually, so that was around 28, 29. So when I was 27, 28, I ended that relationship, then that started. So he was kind of a catalyst for me, and it wasn't until my 29, 30, I think around my 30th, that I had a sort of a near-death experience. So I had a dream. Yeah, it wasn't really a dream, but yeah, with my things that happened in my family lineage came back again. And that has relationships to incest, to pedophilia, to suicide, sexual assault. And I got the chance to sort of step out of, I got asked to leave Earth and join my family. Mind you, or mind me, whatever. That, and I'm not sure if this is true, okay? I'm not sure. I know some things are true, but I'm not sure the whole story, how it was kind of being sold to me. It was my grandfather, my mother, and my grandmother. And I got told that my grandfather, who sexually abused me, was my father. And it was all like sold to me in the... So you already get the sense he had to be kind of honest in that, because I got sort of asked to commit suicide to enter into heaven. And of course, it's also a bit divinely orchestrated that even though this is your family, if you went through all those kinds of things, and my mother committed suicide, and I always wanted to understand why, and I had to break contact with my grandfather because of that. But it's still your family, but you still like... I don't like this scenario that it's being. So yeah, and I can tell you also, I'm going to be, maybe I'll redo this video later in my healing, but I do want to share this a bit already. So why am I doing this in this order? Because that's how kind of my awakening, the puzzle pieces started coming together. So so I didn't die. And that's when the whole gates opened up to my divine mission. And it comes in waves, these things. Because, like I said, spiritual psychosis and stuff, God knows, your divine team knows that they don't go too hard too soon, and you should be careful in that responsibility on your journey too. Pushing yourself into awakening with things and drugs, for example. You can break your psyche to the point of no return anymore. So, or either you go, you leave this life So that's kind of what happened to my mother because of all of the abuse, but also because, and I don't know if this man, my grandfather said, if that is all true, being my father, but yeah, he was a pedophile. And also so I broke contact with that man very young, and then he went to Africa. And I can tell you, he did the same things there. And if you meddle with these kind of things, I don't know if he was really a practicing Satanist, but you open yourself up to that darkness. And what also came to be, so he asked me, or the entity behind this that infiltrated his being with doing that, and also repeating that in Africa, and he died there of malaria when I was 17. So these people were dead already in this near-death experience, whatever it is, awakening gate. Here's your choice. So I don't know, but it does, if he was a practicing Satanist or not, or just possessed by these entities, and that's why he did what he did. But I can tell you, the death of my mother, so reason why I call myself, why I know my soul name is Anna too, but also Sophia, her name was Sonia, Christmas child. That was a sacrifice to these entities, and she did that out of despair, okay, with hearing voices and being pushed into that, and having dealt with all the abuse, maybe the shame, I don't know, how that, I never really had a long talk with her about that yet. So they asked me as a younger generation to repeat that in my family line. So I have this wounding, and this relates also to my natal chart, my divine blueprint a lot. So I'm an Aries sun sign, and Aries is called the Lamb of God, lamb with a B, but also in the Bible sometimes with a P, a lamp. An Aries, the warrior, the first sign of the zodiac. So I was a sacrificial lamb in all kinds of ways, and due to the abuse I went through and the tag that was put on me, I was sacrificed to a demon if I agreed to that or not. So I don't know what would have happened then, in that case, if I said I'm done with this life and I'll do that or whatever, I don't know. So sexual abuse and being a sacrifice is a tag, what do you call it? I don't know, on a soul level. So coming back to the starting points of my awakening and finding someone that I really was, I think, married to in another life. And I found later, so how this went is, I don't know if this was the same in that lifetime, the incest, but I know that I told my husband that I was sexually abused, and back then I lived around Africa. I went on holiday, so during the beginning and not yet understanding what I was going through, and having met this man, me and a stepmother of mine that I then was still in contact with, I didn't know these things, but I went to Cape Town. And my remembrance isn't always about the other person per se. So sometimes you visit points in Earth where the frequency is different. And So that remembrance came there, and also the remembrance of what my family lineage did there. So that came all back to me. So I remember I called that man. I told him that I was sexually abused, and I don't know, I thought I was. So I wasn't African, but he had Arabian also in this lifetime, so around Syria, I believe. So in that continent. And in the culture there, so how I also learned this and came to forgive that and whatever, and know why it had to be like that for remembrance for me. In what what am I here to heal? In Arabic culture, you can if so they believe you're defiled then, and they can torture you for that, and leave you to die in the desert. And I don't think this person remembers that at all. I don't think so. But this, in my soul mission, sometimes it's a lot of the times not about the other person at all. It's about the energy signature. That and I don't need the other person to resolve that. So generational healing for me, and that followed me many lifetimes already. And I can tell you that the essence of my soul in every human lifetime, I have blue eyes, had blue eyes. And in other cultures, that wasn't always in your advantage, being a black woman, African woman with blue eyes, being Japanese with blue eyes, all that kind of stuff. So also relating to sacral chakra healing and sexual things and themes coming back. I once was a prostitute. A good one. So I'm very wanted as that. And that is also something I had to kind of resolve, and also an energy pattern that came back in this lifetime, being sold against my will, but also having been living like that, maybe by choice also. So can you be bought with that came also back. So I think, because my battery doesn't have that long, and I'm not making a lot of sense to a lot of people at the moment, I guess, but that's fine. I'm working through my sacral chakra traumas at the moment, and I'm doing that way beyond this lifetime. So I guess I'll make more videos of this, and maybe I'll say purpose healing the sacral chakra, starting there, because I'm past the roots of already. But why I did also want to mention this, because I act out sometimes. So think of trauma triggers and responses of people, how somebody can act out. I made a lot of mistakes in this, so I did this with my coach, and because he's aware of my backstory and also a bit how people can be possessed, especially during active addiction, and also due to certain woundings. He always came back to, I'm not saying because forgiving someone and saying I know where this is coming from doesn't mean that you're going to allow that person back into your life again. So, but I made those mistakes more with people. So my trauma responses was really that things around sex, but also love and family, could sometimes be equal to a lot of fear, abuse, even death. So why I am saying this is because I have a lot of unresolved anger issues, and I know these trauma triggers are way beyond my inner child, inner teenager healing that I need to do from this lifetime. And I've been very aggressive, especially in someone that is like, where the fuck is that coming from? Especially in active being under the influence, so also dark entity possession possibility. Very aggressive to the point of fighting to the death in wanting to protect myself. Well, that doesn't work. So that is a fear of mine, deep-seated. So I don't want to make this all about me, especially this whole channel, and I'm sometimes doubting in how much do I have, should I put out there, because these are deep personal things. And so yeah, learning about that, what I will do and not. I'm not where I wanted to be, and the plan is not going accordingly yet, but I'll just have to make a way through again. So what are you here to heal? I'm gonna give because you can't explain this in one video, and I think maybe after making this one I will get inspiration again on that could be of mutual benefit for my journey and your journey. So this is a deep trauma I have, and why I shared my birthmark in my right eye. So let me first say I have a very wounded masculine, and I don't remember any lifetimes I was a man, and I think that has a reason. So, and I don't hate men. I don't think everybody's out to get me, kill me, hurt me. I know, but I do did project that sometimes out of a fear state. But it's that the warrior archetype in me and wanting to survive, going haywire mode into self-defense. And I've never been physically, not this lifetime, I like that, aggressive, but words can hurt too, and you can break down relationships with those behaviors too. So if you want to find out for yourself a bit, I shared a teaching of someone on my page in my playlist about the spiritual meaning of birthmarks, and I have that one in my eye. But that also, it's not only my birthmark and this energy signature I have of the masculine, leaving that imprint on me, but that manifested in this lifetime also in other people having that energy signature towards me. So what manifested is I have that birthmark. I got assaulted by a woman, and that was in narcissistic rage when I was 4 or 5, that slammed a glass bottle on my head, injuring me. And my eye became crooked due to that impact trauma. But the spiritual signature of that, I healed that, luckily, being a pirate for a long amount of time. So my eye was crooked, but because I was there when my mother committed suicide, and because I've seen things in my soul path that I didn't want to look at, they say also the spiritual marking of that is looking away too fast, and your eye keeps like that. So I healed kinda that this lifetime, and I have like a major, maybe I have brain trauma left of that, and that's why I'm, I sometimes try to joke a bit about these things in my life. But there are also women in my lifetime with this energy signature that really, and this lifetime is a whole different one than back then, when people, the energy of wanting to kill you is there, or torture you. So yeah, that's why I'm no longer in contact with family members, because I went through that trauma energy signature a lot of times of neglect and actually being tortured in all kinds of ways. And I have also this birthmark, and it extends in a dotted line. Because of my generational healing, this relates in total, and this is being a lot. You can see this with more women, maybe also men, of being silenced. So that's what that relates to. And the solar feminine trinity I am connected to have choose to remember that this lifetime, that is where I'm supposed to heal towards. And what I share today is a bit in that sacral chakra healing energy of the solar Christ feminine. But I know I have a lot of, I don't really understand that, and I asked this multiple times to my coach. How do I heal this masculine part of myself not ever having? So I guess the warrior in me does go into that energy, but it's not a protective energy at all. It actually gives me a lot of disadvantage in trying to build healthy relationships. And so yeah, I'm not sure yet. And he explained it to me, but yeah, I'll just have to do more self-inquiry and meditate upon that, because I don't know how. I know I did a lot for my feminine side, but I'm not sure how to go about that yet. But you can ask your birthmark of your higher self about the birthmarks that stand out to you, because sometimes it's a major trauma or something how you died before that leaves an imprint on you, and that manifested that way outwards, on your body. Yeah, and I have some other ones too. One was because someone broke my rib in another life with, and I'm not sure completely if the person that I got that remembrance from was really also the person. And sometimes these people in your life where you get remembrance from only are here to make you remember that, but not about that person specifically. So let me show you. I'll try not to what was it? Was it this side? Yeah, I think so. This one was almost a lethal one. So how I remember this is because I went psycho and attacked this person. That person gave me a knee, broke my rib, I almost died, and they fixed me up. So so he wasn't an enemy. That was I went loco. That's how I remember it, okay? I know that's a significant one. Almost meant death for me. And the Tantien energy that I'm working, so that's funny how that came up. I have that one too. By the navel. So I'll meditate more on that one the coming time for my sacral chakra healing. So you can ask your body, and not only in birthmarks but also in scars or certain ailments you have, that some of these ailments you've carried with you to this current lifetime timeline, and they manifest again. So I once had also around this time I couldn't walk, literally. So I really got sort of that energetically in my how do you call that, scasia, in my whole leg, and then something got blocked. I had to lay on bed for about 2 weeks for that. So be cautious also, because sometimes you get hurt again. So sometimes that manifests again, so you have to live through that again. So yeah, was it? Yeah, so your scars too, and certain blockages, energy blockages you get. So at that time that I was going through this remembrance, and that I had, and then after that I really hurt my foot and I couldn't walk for a while, and I got a whole blockage from the side of my leg. I think I will share this a bit later, but not today, because I don't want to be too much sending out what I do. I make that mistake. There's a lot of brain processing and things going on, and I have the tendency to overshare in that, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I'll share a bit on healing that later. So that does align a bit to what I shared about the Hara center, and how and your chakras, and how, yeah, physical outing, how something comes into the physical for you to look at and process and give that healing, not only in your body but on a soul level. I think I'm going to leave it at that. It's yeah. My energy is still recalibrating. I'm not gonna make this, I've been through a lot, but I always try to come in a more positive energy back again, and use humor for some things too, because that helps a lot. But it's, yeah, I've got some work to do for the coming time. So purpose, what are you here to heal, is the main subject, but I'm going to zoom in sacral chakra clearing and healing. I'll think about it. You'll see when it's online. So let's just end this with the purification, the purity of the fire element. Let this for myself sink in some more. I hope you got something, you learned something from this video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me. Bye.